This video will provide a brief overview of my final project for HCI 541, a social reading application that I have called Parse. I'll provide some background information about the idea of social reading and then discuss my design with a demonstration of the prototype. Reading can take place in many contexts. Reading can be both intensely solitary and highly communal. The length of what is read can be very brief or quite extensive. The physical representation of text can occur in various formats, including bound print such as books and, more recently, on electronic screens as digital texts. Each context has its associated practices. Recently, as the popularity of reading on electronic devices has increased, there has been growing interest in bringing together in a digital networked context practices long associated with reading in the analog format. For example, marking up a page with highlights, underlines, notations, and comments, broadly referred to as marginalia. Second, discussing the text with others, as in an academic seminar or book club. Several points of reference for this movement should be noted. For example, the Institute for the Future of the Book is developing an application called Social Book, which allows readers to add their own commentary to digital text, share these ideas with others, follow others' comments, and create communities of interactive readers and writers. Social Book is self-conceived as a collaborative thinking processor. This recent blog post gives some examples, screenshots, and short descriptions of the beta version of Social Book in action. The examples here are taken from the use of Social Book in a classroom setting, which mirrors the kind of user context that I envision for Parse. As you can see, there's a comment pane which parallels the screen of the main text. Students who use Social Book seem to find that the commentary becomes an integral part of reading the text. This article last year in the Chronicle of Higher Education reports on one experiment using an earlier version of Social Book to invite readers to read and comment upon the text of Thomas More's Utopia, a classical work of political philosophy. As described here, the book becomes a shared space in which readers engage in annotation and conversation, ultimately creating what is called an amplified marginalia. In this case, the text is open to anyone who wishes to join the conversation. We can take a quick look at that experiment here on the Open Utopia website. One can simply read the digital text, or one can also enter into the discussion on the Social Book platform. When we enter that platform, we see the cover of the book, or if we've been here before, we'll see wherever it is that we left off. For purposes of demonstration, I'm going to scroll to a random spot in the text. So we can see here that the main text is in the central panel, and a comment panel is to the right. Registered readers may enter their comments either in line, in connection with a specific passage in the text that they have highlighted, or in general. To make an inline comment, I simply highlight a passage that I wish to comment upon, and click the Add Note icon that pops up. Then I can type my message, my comment, and post it. If I wish to add to an existing comment thread, I simply click on the first post of the thread, and then on Reply in order to make my post. A similar product in the marketplace, also developed in an academic context, is called eComma. Developed by a team of scholars and technologists at the University of Texas, eComma has had several pilot projects. Again, the goal is to create a space for open and collaborative reading. Among the highlighted features of eComma we see are comments, marginalia, annotating, tagging, word clouds, and other forms of textual analytics. A look at this demonstration shows some similar features to what we saw in SocialBook. The main text in this panel and a side panel with comments, but also here, first of all, we see that panel with the word cloud and a tag cloud, and here are the comments. And here we see a comment cloud and a user list with the annotation count. Finally, mention should be made of two new startups in the social reading sphere, both happening to be located in Berlin, ReadMill and ... These companies aim to create a reading platform that is aimed at a more general audience than SocialBook and eComma. Both aim to provide a comprehensive website that is especially optimized for experience on a mobile platform. Here's a brief overview scrolling through ReadMill's website. As you can see, there's high emphasis on aesthetics, on a clean, minimal interface. Again, the ability to highlight and share favorite passages, and to import all kinds of text into the application. These are several creative initiatives in designing a reading experience that takes advantage of digital and networked capabilities. Parse enters this design space and attempts to provide a distinct perspective and interface for social reading. My requirement stipulated that Parse be simple to use, especially on mobile devices, but also convey through its design a certain sense of gravitas, that is, that upon entering the application the user should be in the framework of serious reading and conversation about long-form text, that is, books and substantial length essays. Early sketches revealed that the design might revolve around two sets of items, text and readers. Users would readily situate themselves as one reader among a community of readers. The user experience would revolve around a user's library of texts. Each text would have its own specific community of readers. There needs to be quick movement and access among both text and readers. I was also persuaded at this point that the comment area should be to the side of the main text, rather than below it, so that a clear connection could be maintained between the main text and the commentary. With this background to the design process, let's go now to the dynamic prototype of Parse, which I built on a Proto.io website. The pulse icon appears on the screen of the iPad and when tapped, opens up to an authentication page. Measures for security and privacy will be particularly important when Parse is used in an educational context. The application opens up in the My Library screen. Here the user can immediately see a listing of all his texts, arranged either by title, author, or date of last access. My sense is that this is where a user would want to begin with a presentation of his reading material. I have attempted to keep the navigational interface as minimal and sparse as possible, and to use elements such as a sidebar menu that are commonly found on iPad applications. The home icon on the main navigational bar will always bring the user back to this page. The sidebar menu contains the main navigational controls. Here, for example, the user may manage text and community members. For example, one can add a new text to one's library from several sources, such as Project Gutenberg. Under My Community, the user can find everyone who is in a reading group for any of the texts that the user has in his library. By clicking on the image or name of the person, the user is taken to a more detailed page of information about that particular user. To access text, the user returns to the My Library screen and clicks on either the image or the title of the desired text. This brings up a text information screen giving further details about the text, some analytics and statistics, and a list of all the people who are in the reading group for this text. From this page, one can again click on either the image or the title in order to access the text itself. As with most e-readers, the user will be taken by default to the last page of the text that has been previously accessed. At this point, the main navigational bar undergoes some changes. The Home button remains the same, but the text title and author are now listed in the bar as well. The primary change, though, is in the sidebar menu. When Parse is in a mode with text display, the navigational features of the sidebar change and reveal several sets of features used in the actual reading experience. The first set of features pertains to text appearance, while the second group relate to text navigability. In the third cluster of menu items are the controls for the individual user to annotate and comment upon the text. A digital pen would allow the user to write directly on the iPad screen and to have the marking saved as part of the text file. I'm unable to directly demonstrate that feature, but here's what it would look like for an example. In order to make a comment on the text, the user would first highlight a phrase or passage about which the comment is to be made. The idea would be to highlight the passage, but the development tools that I was using did not support that feature, so I indicate that here with a heavy underlining of the passage. One then goes to the menu and selects Make Comment. The comment pane opens and the main text panel is compressed. The comment box automatically includes the user's picture, name, and the date, and a keyboard appears to allow the user to type in his comments. Here then is what the page would look like with a single user's comments. So far, the user has been operating in individual reading mode. To enter the group discussion of the text, select Show Group Comments from the menu. The comments of all group members are shown, and each member's comment box has a distinct shade to differentiate the comments of one person from those of another. Within a given thread, each subsequent comment is slightly indented to the right in order to more clearly show the progression of posts in the thread. To contribute to an already existing comment thread, simply click on Reply for the post to which one wishes to reply. The comment box and the keyboard appear. These are the basic features of Parse. Other interactive components that might have been shown could not be due to the limited capabilities of Proto.io. Early results from my evaluators indicate a positive response, with some questions about how page appearance would be affected with an accumulating number of comments. I will continue to address these and other questions in further revisions and refinements to the design of Parse.